Welcome to A.D.A.P.T, your personalized AI coaching program. Most of us have been nodding along in meetings, pretending we understand words like RAG, tokens, and Agentic AI. We smile, we take notes, but inside we are completely lost. And that is a problem. If you cannot speak the language of AI, you cannot budget for it, you cannot evaluate vendors, and you certainly cannot lead your organization through this transformation. So today, we are fixing that. We will go term by term through the essential AI vocabulary every business leader needs to know. No coding or technical background required, just plain English definitions and the business implications that actually matter. So, let's get straight into it.
I want to start today with a scenario that I think is going to feel uncomfortably familiar to a lot of you listening.
Okay.
I want you to picture yourself in a board meeting. The coffee's getting cold, the room's a little too warm, and there's a consultant at the front of the room.
Oh, I know this guy.
You know this guy. He's wearing a very sharp suit. He's got a laser pointer, and he is saying things like, we need to optimize our token usage by implementing a RAG architecture with a semantic vector database layer to minimize hallucinations. And really, we should be looking at agentic workflows via MCP for Q4.
Ah, yes. The dreaded AI word salad.
Exactly. And here is the tragedy of that moment. You look around the room, the CFO is nodding thoughtfully, the CMO is taking notes, furiously, the CEO looks contemplative, chin in hand, and You're
nodding too.
I'm nodding too. I'm looking very serious. But inside my head, there is this screaming voice saying, I know what ChatGPT is, but did he just say we're hiring an agent? Is that a person? Is it a spy? Yeah. And what on earth is a token?
It's the emperor's new clothes of the 2020s, isn't it? Nobody wants to be the one to raise their hand and ask, I'm sorry, what does that actually mean?
It really is. We're terrified of looking behind the curve, so we just nod. But here's the problem, and it's a massive business risk. If you don't actually know the difference between a token and a context window, you can't budget for this technology. You literally cannot calculate the ROI.
You can't.
And if you don't understand hallucination versus grounding, you are opening your company up to just massive liability. You're signing checks for things you don't understand.
That's the crux of it. The vocabulary of artificial intelligence has exploded significantly faster than the actual adoption in most companies. And these words, RAG, LLM, vectors, agents, they aren't just jargon for engineers in the basement anymore.
Not at all.
They are the building blocks of modern business strategy. If you don't speak the language, you aren't just out of the loop. You are completely out of the decision-making process.
Which brings us to our mission for today. We are going to build a mental map. We're taking a specific source document, the AI Glossary, curated by Prashant Agarwal.
This isn't a glossary from a computer science textbook. Prashant curated this specifically for A.D.A.P.T, which is his business-first applied AI coaching program.
Yeah.
So these definitions, they're selected for the operator, the executive. The person who needs to sign the check and manage the risk.
So here's the plan. We are going to do a structured A to Z walkthrough of the modern AI landscape, all based on this A.D.A.P.T material.
And we have a bit of a roadmap.
We do. We'll start with the absolute core definitions, clearing up that confusion between AI, Gen AI, and AGI.
Yeah.
Then we'll look at the players, the models themselves.
So we get into the mechanics, the stuff that actually costs you money, like tokens in memory. After that, how you talk to these things, prompting versus engineering.
And the big issues of trust and hallucination. Before finally we land on the future, automation and the rise of agents. It's a full stack education in hopefully about 15 minutes.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's jump in. Section 1, the core definitions, the acronyms everyone uses but maybe doesn't fully get.
Let's start with the big one, the main umbrella, AI, artificial intelligence.
It feels almost silly to define it, but I think we actually need to ground ourselves here because AI has become a marketing term for like anything a computer does. My toaster claims it has AI now because it stops when the bread gets hot.
Right. It's become a bit of buzzword catch-all. But if we look at the source material from A.D.A.P.T, the definition is actually quite specific. AI refers to computer systems that mimic human intelligence, but it really focuses on 3 specific capabilities: learning from data, recognizing patterns, and solving problems. Traditional AI is analytical. It looks at the past. It looks at a spreadsheet of sales data and says sales are down 5%. It recognizes a pattern. It's like an archivist.
But that's not why we're so excited right now. The reason we're doing this deep dive is because of the shift to the next term, Gen AI.
Generative AI. This is the pivot point.
So traditional AI analyzes.
And generative AI creates. It doesn't just tell you sales are down. It writes the email to the sales team explaining why. It generates a chart for you. It creates the image for the presentation.
It's producing net new things. Text, audio, video, things that didn't exist a second ago.
That distinction is everything. It's the difference between a tool that reads and a tool that writes.
Okay, so that brings us to the last acronym in this section, the one that gets thrown around in like a sci-fi movie context, AGI. The one that keeps Elon Musk up at night, AGI, Artificial General Intelligence.
The Holy Grail. Or the Terminator, depending on your outlook.
Right, depends on the day of the week. What is the official definition here from the glossary?
The glossary defines AGI as a hypothetical AI that can perform any intellectual task a human can. And the real emphasis there is on the word any.
Define any. I mean, how broad are we talking?
I mean any. It could, for example, diagnose a rare cancer, then write a sonnet about that diagnosis, then design the treatment plan, then negotiate the insurance billing, and then navigate the emotional conversation with the patient's family. And it could do all of that without being retrained for each specific task.
Oh, it's the general part that's key. It's adaptable intelligence.
Exactly. Current AI is narrow. Deep Blue beat Kasparov at chess. But if you ask Deep Blue to cook an omelet or write a joke, it would just fail. It was a savant. AGI is a polymath.
And the glossary has a very specific reality check on this, doesn't it?
It does. It says very clearly, does not exist yet.
I feel like that needs to be printed on a banner in every single boardroom because you see vendors out there selling AGI-like capabilities.
And that's just marketing fluff. We have very, very smart, narrow AI. We have LLMs that can fake generality because they've read so much stuff. But they are not AGI. They don't have true agency or a real understanding of the world.
So the strategic takeaway for anyone listening is prepare for AGI, keep an eye on it, but build your business strategy for this fiscal year on Gen AI.
Exactly. Don't fire your entire workforce assuming a robot is going to run the company next year. That's a very bad bet. You need to stick to the tools that exist today.
All right, let's get under the hood. We understand the concept. Now we need to understand the engine. Section 2 covers the models and the acronym that rules them all, LLM.
Large language models.
I like to think of the LLM as the engine. It's the brain in a jar, sort of. The glossary explains they're trained on massive amounts of text to understand and generate language.
But that definition's already expanding, isn't it?
It is. We're seeing a really rapid shift to what's called multimodal models.
Which is just a fancy way of saying it's not just about text anymore.
Right. For a long time, it was text in, text out. But a multimodal model, it can see and hear.
Exactly. You can upload a photo of a whiteboard diagram, and it can write the code to build that website. Or you can give it a video, and it can summarize the audio for you.
And the frontier models, the best ones, are pretty much all multimodal now.
They have to be.
So who are these frontier models? A.D.A.P.T. highlights what it calls the big three. First up, GPT.
The household name. That's OpenAI. It powers ChatGPT. It's generally seen as the best all-rounder.
Accessible, creative, the one everyone measures against?
Yep. But then you have Claude from Anthropic. And the glossary notes something specific here. It says Claude is known for longer context handling and nuanced reasoning.
What does that mean in practice?
I find Claude is often the favorite for people doing really heavy writing or research. It feels a bit less robotic, maybe. If you feed it a 50-page PDF and ask for a nuanced summary, Claude often handles that complexity a bit more gracefully.
And rounding out the big three is Gemini.
From Google. And Google's whole play here is the ecosystem.
Right. It's integrated into Workspace, into Drive, into Search.
Exactly. The value proposition is that it's already living inside your documents. You don't have to copy and paste anything.
Okay, so you pick your fighter. Now let's get into the weeds a bit. Section 3, the mechanics. This is where people get confused when they look at the bill or the settings. Let's talk about tokens.
Ah, yes. The currency of AI.
The source calls them the basic unit of usage, but it's not a word, right? This drives people crazy.
No, it's not a word. The LLM doesn't read words. It breaks text down into these little chunks of characters called tokens. The rough math they give is that 1,000 tokens is about 750 words.
So every time I use it, I'm spending tokens on my input, the stuff I send it, and the output, what it writes back.
Precisely. Every single interaction is a transaction, and it acts as a constraint. You can't just dump the entire Library of Congress into a prompt.
You'd run out of tokens, And budget.
And that brings us to the next constraint, which I think is even more important for strategy, the context window.
This is huge. If the LLM is the brain, the context window is its short-term memory.
That's a great way to put it. It's the amount of information the model can hold in its head at one time while it's answering you.
There's one more setting here I think people mess with but don't really get. Temperature.
The creativity dial. It usually runs from 0 to 1.
And the source says this controls randomness. So low temperature.
Low temperature, like 0, means it's deterministic. Yeah. Focused, logical, repetitive. If you ask it, what is 2 plus 2, it will say 4 every single time. You want this for coding or data extraction.
And if you crank it up to 1 or high?
It gets creative, it gets a little wild, it takes risks. That's great if you're brainstorming marketing slogans or writing a sci-fi story.
But terrible if you're trying to automate customer support.
Terrible.
No.
A high temperature means the AI might answer the same customer question 3 different ways.
So the insight is, check your thermostat. It's a tunable setting, not a fixed trait of the AI.
Exactly.
Okay, section 4, we've got the machine, we know the settings. Now how do we talk to it? Everyone's heard of prompt engineering.
Which is basically the art of asking good questions. The glossary defines a prompt as just the instruction you give the AI.
But A.D.A.P.T. introduces a concept here that I think is way more powerful for leaders, something beyond just writing a good sentence, context engineering.
Yes, this is the next level of maturity. Prompt engineering is tactical. It's, how do I phrase this question?
While context engineering is architectural.
Exactly. It's asking, what information do I need to structure and feed into the system before I even ask my question?
Give me an example of the difference.
Sure. A prompt engineer tries to write a really clever instruction to get the AI to draft a sales email. A context engineer curates the last 10 successful sales emails, the product spec sheet, and the customer persona, and feeds all of that into the context window first.
It's about creating the dossier.
It's all about the dossier. If you get the context right, the prompt can be dead simple. If the context is missing, no amount of clever prompting will save you.
That's a powerful shift. The glossary also mentions system prompts. These feel a bit more behind the scenes.
They are. A system prompt is the invisible instruction layer. It's the God mode rule set. Before you even type hello, the system prompt has already told the AI, you are a helpful customer support agent for a shoe company. You never use slang. You always offer a refund if the customer is angry.
So it sets the personality and the guardrails?
It governs the behavior. And if you're building a custom GPT, another term in the glossary, the system prompt is the heart of it.
And a custom GPT is just a personalized chat GPT that you've configured without code, right?
That's it. You've preloaded that context and those system instructions so you don't have to repeat them every time. It's like giving an employee a handbook instead of explaining the rules every single morning.
But, and this is the elephant in the room, sometimes that employee lies. Which brings us to section 5. Trust, accuracy, and data. This is where businesses get nervous.
The hallucination problem.
The source defines hallucination as when AI confidently generates false or made-up information.
And that word confidently is doing so much work there. It doesn't stammer. It doesn't say, I think. It looks you dead in the eye and tells you a fact that is completely wrong.
So how do we fix this? The glossary offers a solution called grounding.
Grounding is the antidote to hallucination. It means connecting the AI to real, verified information sources, your documents, your databases, a real-time search.
So instead of letting it just riff off its training data, which is the whole messy internet, we tether it.
Yes, we tether it to a single source of truth. We say, don't guess, look here.
And the specific technique for this, probably the buzziest acronym in enterprise AI right now, is RAG.
Retrieval Augmented Generation.
Okay, let's unpack this one slowly. This is really important. I want to use an analogy here.
Let's do the librarian analogy. It works well.
Okay. So normally asking a base LLM a question is like asking a really, really smart professor a question from memory.
Right. And he might have a great memory, but he also might misremember a date or a citation. He's guessing based on what he read years ago during training.
RAG is like sending that professor to the library first.
Exactly. Step 1 is retrieval. You ask the question. The system goes to your library, your corporate database, your SharePoint, and finds the exact book and page that contains the answer.
Okay, so it finds the source.
Then step 2, augmentation. It basically photocopies that page and hands it to the professor along with your question.
And then the last part.
Step 3, generation. The professor reads the page and then writes the answer based only on that page.
So it's an open book test.
It is exactly an open book test.
Right.
It's not answering from memory anymore. It's answering from the source material you provided right in that moment.
And the business value here is just obvious. It stops the guessing.
It allows the AI to look up facts. It's absolutely essential for any corporate application where truth matters.
Now, to make RAG work, the glossary mentions one piece of tech that sounds like it belongs in a physics class. The vector database.
I know. Vector database sounds super intimidating. But the concept is actually beautiful.
Okay, sell me.
A traditional database is just a keyword search. If I search for apples, it looks for the string of letters A-P-P-L-E. If your document says Granny Smith or fruit, the database completely misses it.
Because the letters don't match.
Right. But a vector database turns words into numbers, vectors that represent meaning. And in this mathematical space, the numbers for apple and fruit and pie are all sitting right next to each other.
So you can search by concept?
Yes. You can search for delicious snack, and the vector database will pull up the document about apples, even if the word snack isn't in it. That semantic understanding is the magic that makes a RAG actually work.
That is a game changer for searching like a company knowledge base.
It unlocks all the data you didn't even know you had.
Okay, we're coming into the home stretch. Section 6, integration and automation. We know the terms, we trust the data. How do we plug it in? First term is API.
Application Programming Interface.
The bridge.
It's the pipe. It's how developers put the intelligence of GPT-4 inside their own boring internal tools. AI is just a feature inside your CRM or your email client now.
And for those of us who don't code, the glossary highlights automation platforms. Things like Zapier, Make, NAN.
These are the glue. They let you chain things together. When a new email comes in, use AI to summarize it, then put that summary in Slack. You're basically building software without writing code.
Which leads to the bigger concept, AI automation.
And this is the shift from just creation to process. We aren't just using AI to write one blog post. We're using it to file expenses, to categorize support tickets, to route sales leads.
It's taking the drudgery out of the workflow.
It is. And that is the perfect lead-in to the final frontier here. Section 7, the future of work. We are moving from automation to agentic AI.
This is the buzzword you are going to hear everywhere this year. Agents.
Everywhere.
So how is an agent different from the ChatGPT bot I talked to today?
A bot is passive. You talk to it, it talks back, it waits for you. An agent is active, it has agency. You give it a goal, not a task.
Okay, give me an example. Goal versus task.
A task is write an email to John booking a meeting. A goal is manage my calendar this week and make sure I meet with all the key stakeholders.
So it's not just a writer, it's a doer.
It's a doer.
And to make that happen, the glossary introduces one final emerging standard, MCP, Model Context Protocol.
If agents are the future workers, MCP is like the universal USB port they all plug into.
Okay, explain that one.
Right now, connecting an AI to your calendar and your Slack and your Google Drive is a mess. Every connection is custom built. MCP is a proposed standard to make that plug and play.
So it lets an agent walk into a new software environment and immediately understand, here's the data, here are the tools I can use.
It standardizes the interface between the AI brain and the digital tools. If MCP takes off, it just accelerates this agentic future like crazy.
It's a massive shift. We started this whole thing talking about simple definitions, and we've ended up talking about autonomous digital employees plugging into a universal standard.
That's just the speed of this industry right now.
So let's do a quick recap. We define the core gen AI creates. It doesn't just analyze. We met the players, that ecosystem battle between GPT, Claude, and Gemini.
We looked at the mechanics, how tokens and context windows constrain what we can do, and we taught trust using grounding, WAGIS, and vector databases to keep the AI honest.
And we just looked at the future, the shift from passive chatbots to active agents using protocols like MCP.
It's a lot, I know. But hopefully, just having the vocabulary makes it feel less like magic and more like, well, engineering.
It really does. And again, this whole roadmap came from the A.D.A.P.T. AI Glossary by Prashant Agarwal. It's amazing how much clarity you get just by defining your terms.
It removes the fear. When you know what a vector database is, it's just another tool. It's not some scary black box anymore.
That is a fascinating place to land. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the A.D.A.P.T. Glossary. Hopefully you all feel a little more fluent in the language of the future.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.
This is A.D.A.P.T, your personalized AI coaching program. If you've enjoyed listening to this podcast, visit adaptaicoaching.com to understand how AI can upgrade your or your team's productivity. Keep learning and keep being curious.